Hi, welcome to the B1 Fixed Assets LLC video series. This video is the Fixed Assets Basic Lifecycle demo. In this demo, we're going to create an AP invoice for the purchase of some fixed assets, then capture and create those fixed assets, run depreciation, and retire them. Along the way, we'll show you the fixed asset subledger and the integration points to the SAP General Ledger. There are other videos that will show you each step in more detail so that you can see the depth and flexibility of the fixed assets application. One common question we get is, if it does all of the things that it does, isn't the product hard to use? The answer is simply no, and this demo will show you just how easy it is to use each function. So let's jump in. Alright, to start, what I did is created an AP invoice for the purchase of some servers. So you'll notice in here that we purchased a couple of servers and some rack mounting hardware, and those are posted to the asset purchase clearing account. Those are accounts that we set up in fixed assets to capture this event. In order to make an asset out of it, I go to the asset master, go into add mode like you would with any other SAP form, and select from purchasing. You'll notice that I have the rows of the invoice here along with the rack mount. You'll also notice I have drill downs into that invoice where I can go look at that invoice to get more specific information and to confirm that this is what I want to do. So we have a full integration to the payables function. I'll make this large. So I want to select the first server, and I also want to select the rack mounting hardware, but I want to split this amount evenly between the two servers. So I'll go ahead and make that 170. And now when I select, the information is brought back to the Asset Master data form. So the total amount selected is in my original cost. The acquisition date is the invoice date. The description is right off the invoice row. I next select which group it's in, which is computer hardware. I'll use a formatted search to get my next valid asset ID, and you'll notice that by selecting that group, I also have my GL accounts for computer hardware already assigned to the asset. It's going to auto-add both the corporate and the federal tax books by having this box checked. I can turn it off if I want to do it manually. And I'm going to go ahead and check that it's maintainable and we want to take physical inventory on it. Now when I click the Add button, it's going to go ahead and create the Asset Master and both sets of books for me, and you'll notice now the Book Compare tab is on. So let's go look at the Book Compare and see the results of the addition. You'll notice the net book value, because we have not taken depreciation, is still the cost of the asset. And for my corporate books, I've enforced the rules of being a full period straight line. And for my tax book, it's declining balance mid-quarter. So now we have our books, and we will be able to take some depreciation against that. All right, next what I want to do is to create the asset for the second server. So we'll go back into add mode. We'll go back to select from purchasing, and you'll notice that the first server is gone because we've already created, and I have a balance left of 170 of the 340, so it's helping me manage the drawdown of this. So now I can just simply select these two because I'm going to take all of that, and now I get the description of the second server and its total amount. Again, select the group, assign the next asset ID, check my boxes, and we'll add this asset as well. Now, an additional thing is once we put this in, we can view purchasing, which now takes me back to the original rows that I selected and how much I cleared out of that, including the drill down back to those original invoices. So at any moment in time now I can see the acquisition from the invoice, and of course using the SAP drill buttons we can go all the way back to the original purchase order if necessary. So we have a complete and full integration of how this asset got created. Before we take any depreciation, let's take a look at the financial ledger and see the result of the addition. Again, we go to the Book Compare tab, the Asset Book button, and we'll click the Financial Ledger button, which will take us to the Financial Subledger Analysis form. You'll notice we have the addition and the cost clearings, the debits and the credit for that. the GL accounts that will get posted to when we push this across to the SAP General Ledger. And it hasn't been interfaced yet because we don't see the General Ledger journal entry here. After we run General Ledger interface, you will be able to do that and drill right into the journal entry. Back to the asset book form where we'll get ready to take depreciation. The next step in the life cycle then would be to take depreciation on the assets. So off our main menu we go to the depreciation form. We have a choice of depreciating all of the assets or selected assets. I'm going to paste in the first of these assets. We're going to depreciate both of them, so I'm going to just say we're going to do the range of 13 to 14, and I'm going to depreciate this through June the 30th. And so we should take April, May, and June depending on the averaging methods. So I'm going to go ahead and process this. You notice it gives me a status bar as we go through it and tells me that we're completed. So now if I go back to the asset book, you'll notice we've taken depreciation and the tab is updated for both the corporate and the tax. And if I come into the asset book, I'll be able to see how much year to date, how much period to date, how much life to date. And now if I go to the financial ledger, I will see the depreciation and accumulated depreciation taken for the 3 periods of April, May, and June. So you can see these amounts. You'll notice they change due to rounding. And the general ledger accounts we're going to hit. Still, we've not interfaced to general ledger, but we're starting to get some information now. Next, let's go ahead and retire this asset, and we'll pretend as though we are returning it. So we'll go ahead and put in the asset ID. And we're going to retire this in the middle of May. So we'll see the effect of reversing depreciation to that date. And it'll be an ordinary. We'll say that it has been returned and we have no proceeds or anything else. We'll do a full retirement. So let's go ahead and add that. So that's been done. Now let's return back to the book where we'll see that depreciation has changed somewhat, and we'll look at the book information, the asset book information. You'll notice now it's telling us that it is retired. And when we go to the financial ledger, we have several retirement transactions, some of which affected depreciation. You'll notice we reversed depreciation for the latter 2 months because it's a full period averaging convention, so we're taking the full periods out. And then we have our costs and our accumulated and our gain loss calculations to reverse the costs, the 1 month of depreciation, and our net book value at the time when we're finished. So everything gets backed out, recomputed, and the full retirement is posted now to the financial ledger. We've been referring all along to the necessity of posting things across to the general ledger, so I'm going to show a little bit of the flexibility of that. So we're going to open the general ledger integration, and we have a couple of options on our general ledger interface. We can do it by asset ID and or by posting date. So let's go ahead and start. We'll paste in. We'll want to do both asset 13 and asset 14. So we're going to do both of those. But I'll only want to post the FA posting activity from April. So we're going to go the posting date from 4/1 to 4/30. And we're going to post that into 04/30/11 for our general ledger date. And this is asset activity. April 2011. We can also put in Ref 2 and remarks. And we're going to do a detail interface in this case. And we're going to go ahead and add that. Okay, so now that journal entry has been created. I'm going to keep that form open, but meanwhile I'm going to go over to Finance, Journal Entry, and we'll go get the journal entry that we just created. And you'll notice that the Ref 1 contains the information that we put into the interface form when we did the journal ledger interface. Because we did a detail interface, you'll notice that the remarks contains information about each row of the financial ledger, not only where it came from, which is for asset additions or depreciation or retirements, whatever, but also the asset that was affected. So this gives you a really tight audit trail row by row between the financial ledger and the general ledger. We can get to that same information by going back to the Asset Master books and looking at the financial ledger. And once again, you'll see all of the detail for this asset, but now the rows that have been posted to General Ledger have the journal entry, so now we can drill directly into that journal entry, showing the full integration between the financial ledger and the subledger. So what were we able to accomplish in about 10 minutes? We added a couple of assets from an AP invoice, created their corporate and tax books automatically. We took depreciation on both assets, retired one of them, and posted one period to the general ledger. Each step was really easy, but a lot got done. This is consistent with the SAP Business One mantra, simple but powerful. Yet there's a lot more to the product than what we are able to show in a 10-minute video. There are other videos that go into each of these steps individually, and videos on other functions that you may need in your business. Together they show the depth and breadth of each function and the product. As always, we welcome your feedback and input. Feel free to contact us at any time at b1fixedassets.com and let us know how we can serve your fixed assets needs. Thanks for watching.